So my daughter needed a car because she was starting college, plus we were tired of driving her everywhere she needed to go. So I figured a Chevy Bolt EUV would be the perfect first car for her. In this video, I'm going to install a cable protector and show you how I feed the charging cord under the garage door without damaging it or letting critters in the garage to charge her car which parks outside. So let's go. Now hopefully you watched my video when I installed my Emporia Level 2 charger for my EV. If not, I'll post it in the description below so you can check it out. As you can see, it's real easy for me to plug my car in. The connector gun is hung up on the gun cradle 3 feet away. Unplugging it is just as easy. But for my daughter's car, which is parked outside, this is how I was doing it at first. I would plug in her car, position the cord, place a scrap piece of 2x4 where the garage door shuts, and shut the door. Next, I would use these clamps to lock the door, and I would never charge her car at night just in case, knowing this is not that secure. But see how the clamps prevent the garage door from being lifted up? The other issue this presented was the gap could let in critters. Check it out from the other side. See all the light coming in? I was just worried a snake or a mouse could get in the garage, and of course lizards and frogs. So I researched for a solution and watched a video from undorgarage.com. I like what I saw, so I ordered it from Amazon. It's not inexpensive, but I was looking for quality, not something cheap. Here's a quick unboxing. There's paperwork with a 3-year warranty and installation instructions. They include a masonry bit and some plastic anchors and screws I won't be using for my use case. And of course, the 2 Undor cable protectors. This is how they open and close to allow the cable to pass through. So far, I'm liking the design and it feels like it's nicely made, thick plastic. The other purchase you have to make this work is a new bottom weather seal for your garage door. As you can see, mine is ready to be changed after being almost 20 years old now. The bottom weather seal can't be pressed down like this one obviously is. This is one of the screws that pin it in. The weather seal needs to keep its elasticity and retain its shape for this to work. It was tough to figure out which seal for my single garage door was needed to be purchased. Looking at my existing seal from a side view, I see there was only a single channel versus the double channel I have on my double garage door. Looking on Amazon, I found one that I thought might work. With the tabs folded together, they look like an upward facing arrow. Considering all the other measurements, I went ahead and ordered it and took a chance this was the one I needed. I start with the door seal by clamping the door in a position where I can reach everything. I take out the 2 screws that pin the seal from sliding in the channel. But when I went to slide out the old seal, can you see how this bottom lifting bracket was blocking my ability to do that? So I decided to remove these 7 screws and take out the whole retainer. As I start taking out the screws, I decided to install a clamp so the retainer doesn't come crashing down. But you will see as I take out these last screws, it wasn't budging. This bottom lifting bracket was squeezing the retainer, so I grabbed my ratchet with a 7/16 socket and loosened the bracket, and the retainer pulled down free. I moved to the other side and repeat by loosening the bolt, removing the clamp, and removing the whole retainer, bringing it to my work table. I use my utility knife and make a cut in the old seal down the length of it. It pulls out the side real easy in 2 pieces. So this is the seal that I'm hoping is the right one. It says it's 4 inches wide. I compare that to my old seal, which measures 3.5 inches wide, but I'm guessing it shrunk. I next compare them side by side looking at the tabs, and I was happy to see they look similar. So the final test was to just try it. It slid in smoothly and it looks like it's the one. So next I bust out my pressure washer. Since I had to remove the retainer, it's just easiest to blast it with water to get the channel really clean. After getting both sides, I let it sit in the sun for 30 minutes to dry. Next, I bring the retainer back to my work table and clamp it down so it can't move. I want to lubricate the channel to allow the seal to slide on easier. Let me show you the lube I like to use for something like this. It's called Super Slick Stuff. I like it because it doesn't make a mess like other lubricants. You can get it at Lowe's or Ace. You see me now spraying it in the channel, lubing it up. Next, I insert the seal tabs in the channel of the retainer and pull with one hand and push with the other. I keep working it that way, making sure the tabs are staying lined up. Sometimes they start to get stuck and you have to realign them. I continue pulling with one hand and pushing with the other. This would be much easier with 2 people, of course, but I just keep working it little by little. I'm not forcing it by pulling too hard. I don't want it to stretch out of shape. When I got halfway, to help with the aligning, I put a sawhorse in a position to guide the seal. Then I jumped back and forth, pushing on one end and pulling on the other end until it was on. This took a lot of back and forth, and I'm definitely going to have to recruit some help when I attempt to do my double garage door. I left it purposely long a few inches on one side and cut the excess the same amount off the other. I'm leaving it a little long on purpose because I want to cut it to fit once it's installed and I can try it out. I get the sawhorse out of the way, and I next wipe the bottom of the garage door with some baby wipes. This is not a necessary step, but I like to work clean. There was a lot of dead bugs and dirt, and I didn't want to reinstall the retainer over all that junk. So now that it's clean, I reinsert the retainer under the garage door, and I put a clamp to hold it there until I can get the screws in. I use a straight pick to line the holes and start screwing some of the screws back in. I next lower the door so I can determine how much more of the seal I want to cut off. I can see on this side, it's just barely hitting where the cement is higher. Moving to the other side, it seems about the same or maybe a little bit more. I take a look from the outside and see how it looks from out there. Everything is looking good, and I'm now ready for the final sizing cuts. I take my shop scissors and I start to make my cut, but the seal keeps folding over, so after a few tries I hold the end with my other hand against the track, and it cuts right through real easy. I go to the other side and I start doing it right by holding the end with one hand and cutting with the other, but then I let go to two hands squeeze the scissor handles. Remembering I need to hold the end straight, I re-grab the end and I make the second cut. I next lower the door again, and this side looks perfect and laying flat now. The other side looks great too, so it's time to finish the last steps of the weather seal replacement. I put the last of the screws in and tighten the bolts back up. I didn't want to fully secure this until I knew for sure everything was good. These last two screws you're seeing me put in, again, pins the seal from sliding in the channel. Even though, as you saw earlier, mine can't move because the bottom lifting bracket locks it in. I noticed the last two screws made the seal move forward a bit, which centered it more under the middle of the door. With this seal only having one channel, I was wondering how that was going to happen. Now it's time to install the Undor cable protector. Now see how the seal's not sitting straight right here? I think it's that screw that pins the seal in doing this. I lift the garage door and I try to get it straight because I need to mark a pencil line to align the cable protector. But after several tries, I decided to try something else. I put a ruler down and I lined it up with the edge of the seal with the part that is straight so I can draw the line. Even that wasn't working, so I take that screw back out and it helps. I put the ruler back down and now only at the end it's not right. But that's fine. I lift the door up, carefully hold the ruler tight to the ground, and draw the line. Now I have my line drawn right where the seal meets the ground. This is what the directions say to align it. You don't want it jammed into the side of the weather seal distorting it, just making contact with the weather seal. The nose of the Undor should be just inside the depth of the track, and you should see the pencil line right here inside the right trailing leg. These are the 3 points of alignment. I next lower the door to see how it lines up and to check to see if anything looks wrong. With everything looking good on the inside, I go around and check the outside. As far as I can tell, it's ready to be screwed down. I carefully lift the door up, and I'll be using my masonry bits with some Tapcon screws. I set my drill to hammer and start to drill to mark my hole. I move the Undor out of the way and continue to drill the hole slightly deeper than the screw size. I vacuum the cement dust up, especially in the hole. Switching from the drill bit to my Phillips drill bit, with a washer on a Tapcon, I realign the Undor and screw in the screw. It feels nice and secure and opens and shuts good. Now just to show you again how to align everything now it's secured. You should see this pencil line just inside the trailing leg, the nose of the Undor should be just inside the depth of the track, and it's just making contact with the weather seal without distorting it. Here's a shot so you can see the Tapcon inside. The next step is to shut the door, and I need to make a mark just inside the rear vertical wall of the Undor right here. I mark the retainer too so I can find the mark on the seal easier. I lift the door back up, and I'm ready to make a cut in the weather seal that's necessary so that it stays well padded up to the Undor. I make the cut, lower the door, and see how with the cut it seals this part? Without the cut in the seal, this part would be crushed in and on an angle, leaving a gap. Here's a close-up shot on what's happening. It's catching on the vertical weather seal, and the bottom door seal is folding in as it shuts and unfolding out as it opens. Eventually, it will just stay crushed down where the Undor is. Checking the other side, everything looks good, and I tap the Undor with my boot, double-checking it's secure. So check it out, guys. It's really easy to use. You don't necessarily need to bend down like I'm doing. If you get your technique down, you can use your foot. But I just feed the cord in the channel, close the kit cover, plug the car in, and shut the garage door. See how the cover protects the cord? Here's a shot from the outside. The charging cord is coming out of the garage protected now, and no critters can get in the garage. I really like the design of this. What do you guys think? This is going to make it much easier and more secure for me to charge my daughter's car. Plus, I won't be limited to only day charging now. As more and more people buy EVs, I bet this is going to be a popular solution if you have to bring a charging cord under the garage door. See right here how my cord was getting scratched? I really like how the kit cover protects the cord now. The cord also makes a smooth transition up to the gun cradle where I have the extra cord wound up. Even though you see me here opening the cover with my hand, like I mentioned before, you can use your foot. I just usually use my hand to close it since I'm down there anyway, positioning the cable how I want it in the Undor channel, and use my foot to open it. So after that little demonstration, let me wind up the cord, but there's more to this project. You're supposed to install the second Undor cable protector on the opposite side of the garage to help support that side. But I have no need to bring the cord this way when I can just go this way. So I had to come up with an idea to support the other side of the garage door. I decided to design and use a piece of PVC board, and I'm seeing I'm going to need to smooth this area so it lays flat. My idea is to find something that's the same height as the Undor, so I'm thinking about using these two pieces to achieve that. And I'm using the design of the Undor to come up with a design for my PVC board. I want to copy this back part of the trailing legs. The reason I felt I needed something on this side is because I don't want the garage door to get racked or the bottom weather seal to get crushed down. And without something to support this other side, when the garage door comes down frequently, that might happen. So I need to draw a pencil line like I did on the other side, but I'm not having to use a ruler this time. The seal is staying straight. I just keep playing around with my design. Like I mentioned before, it's the back part of the Undor unit design I need to copy. So I place the PVC board back down and I kind of trace out my initial idea. I'm going to jump forward a bit, skipping from when I cut out my first prototype, but I'll show you how I did it on the second attempt. Here it is. I'm not liking it. I feel it's a little small. As I shut the garage door trying it out, I'm identifying what I want to try next. So I cut a larger piece for my PVC board for attempt number 2. After marking the new size, I bring it back to the workbench and draw my cutting lines. I'm just basically making it larger. It's going to take a lot of hits from the garage door, so I'm hoping it will be stronger now it's larger. I take it over to my miter saw and make the cuts. I'm being careful because these are tricky cuts for a miter saw. I would recommend using a jigsaw instead if you're uncomfortable making these kind of close to finger cuts with a miter saw. Now this is exactly what I did to cut out and come up with the first prototype, but felt you didn't need to see this twice. So let's go try it out. I place it down and shut the garage door to try it out. I'm noticing where the seal makes contact, it's sitting high right here on the tip. After a few up and down tries, I think it's going to work. I just need to get it to sit flat now. I didn't have the right tool for this, but I just used my nail puller and chisel away at the cement. The cement is real soft here, so it was really easy. After a quick blow, I try it out. I see where I need to keep chiseling and continue to flatten out this area. The whole time I was doing this, I was thinking if I wanted to install that second Undor on the side, I would have had to chisel away a lot more cement than what I was doing for the small PVC board. So after a little bit more chiseling, I blow the dust away one last time and try it out. After shutting the garage door, it looks like it's laying flat now. Now remember, originally I had planned to put 2 PVC boards to equal the height of the Undor unit. But you can see it's too high with 2 boards. With just one board, when I open and close the garage door, by having my hand on the garage door, I can feel both sides are hitting at the same time through the vibration it creates when it hits, which is what I want. You can see here how the cement is curving higher as it gets closer to the wall. They also didn't do a good job smoothing the cement here, but that made it easier to chisel down. Next, I trace the outside edge of the PVC board to make sure I put it back in the exact same spot and mark my drill hole. I bring it to my shop desk and pre-drill that hole. Next, I use a countersink drill bit to enlarge the hole opening because I want the Tapcon screw to be countersunk in the board. I place the PVC board back between the trace lines and mark my drill hole by hammer drilling. Then I move the PVC board out of the way and finish drilling the hole. A quick vacuum of the cement dust, especially in the drilled hole. I finally place the PVC board back between the trace lines and screw in the Tapcon screw. A wiggle to test it's secure, and here's a shot to see how it came out. I shut the door, and the last step is I need to make a mark on the weather seal where I need to make the cut like I did previously. I lift the door back up and carefully make the cut on that mark. Lowering the door to test it, I can see it looks good. The PVC board should hold up better than a piece of wood, especially because it's sitting on the floor and it will get wet. Here's a shot from the outside where you can see how with the garage door sitting on the Undor and the PVC board, it keeps the weather seal well padded and not crushed down. Remember all the daylight I had coming from under here? So to finish this video up, time to solve the other issue I had, which was how to secure and lock the garage door. Can you see on the side of the striker plate how you can loosen the screws and slide it up? That's all I could have done. But on the other side, I was worried that because of the PVC board that I had mounted to protect the charging cable from the garage door, the nut which was inside the board would keep spinning when I went to retighten it up, and I didn't want to have to take that board apart and off. So for me, because it's real easy, I just decided to lower the spring latches instead and not take that chance. I start by removing the 3 screws. After repositioning and centering the latch in the striker plate, I mark my drill holes with a Sharpie. Next, I drill the 3 holes. Even though the screws are self-tapping, it makes it easier. After placing one of the screws in my hex driver, I hold the spring latch with my left hand, stick the screw in the hole of the latch, Position the latch until I feel the tip of the screw is in the pre-drilled hole and screw it in using the drill that's in my right hand. After screwing in the other 2 screws, I adjust the clutch of my drill and give them all one last turn until I hear the clutch slip, ensuring that they're all tight. After a couple test tries and a couple pulls on the garage door, it looks good and I move to the other side. I'm gonna speed up the installation of the second one since you just saw how I did it on the other side. No need to watch a play-by-play of something this straightforward a whole second time. The only difference was this one had only 2 screws, but I'll add the third in the future. Time to test it out. A few up and downs and it's latching good and locking perfectly. I also want to point out, by using the PVC board for the other side, I now have a spare Undor unit in case the first one breaks down the road. So that's it, guys. If you need to run your EV charging cord outside, I would definitely recommend the Undor garage door cable protector. Thanks for watching, everybody. Please hit the thumbs up if you like this video and be sure to subscribe. Also hit that bell icon. My daughter's been loving her Chevy Bolt EUV and I feel great she doesn't have to worry about stopping at a gas station for gas. Plugging in at home is so much cheaper, easier, and safer. Hopefully you're watching this video because you have the pleasure of driving an EV and now have your solution for bringing your charging cable securely and unharmed under your garage door. This was an unsponsored video and I purchased the Undor unit installed in this video. Click on any of these links on the screen to check out my other home DIY videos. Bye everybody.